G'day everybody, Mitch here again, and welcome back to your favourite Model T Ford channel, and particularly welcome to another Rambling Rides. So, what's going on today? Well, today I am heading off to Port Macquarie to deliver an old ute that we used for a Paddock Basher. Now, for those of you who are not from Australia, two very much Australian terms, so for my viewers out there who are not from Australia, a ute is the Australian slang term for a pickup truck. So the word ute actually comes from a utility vehicle, so literally just an open back vehicle with a tray or a tub that can carry whatever you want. And the other expression you heard me use was Paddock Basher. So bush basher, Paddock Basher, basically it's a vehicle that is technically or generally no more good for using on the road. It's not really roadworthy, and it just gets used on the property to move things around. So this particular one, we used to use it for moving hay bales around and that for the horses. But say any car can be a Paddock Basher. It doesn't have to be a ute or pickup truck. It can be whatever you want. So, but generally they're older vehicles that have seen better days and pretty much no good to use on the road anymore. You'd probably almost certainly get a ticket if you got caught driving it on the road. And at any rate, they wouldn't pass it for a roadworthy inspection anyway to register it for road use anyway. So that is a long-winded explanation of what a Paddock Basher is. So yeah, just off to Port Macquarie, as I said, to drop this vehicle off. We've got no further use for it, and it's actually got, if I'm honest, it's got a fair bit of rust in it. Big rust hole on the driver's side door sill actually, but things like that. It's fixable, but I just don't really have the time to be messing around with things like that. It's I should tell you what it is. It's actually a 2005 Ford Courier, but as I say, it's seen better days. The previous owner, who we bought it from, I suspect took it on the beach a lot, and by the looks of underneath it, didn't do a very good job of cleaning the sand and the salt off of it. So yeah, she's got a fair bit of rust underneath. But I say that's what happens when you drive cars on the beach and don't look after them. So, but you know, we didn't buy this particular vehicle to put it back on the road again. It was only ever intended to be a Paddock Basher. So that's the life that it lived with us for a couple of years, and now we've just decided haven't really got the space for it anymore. We'll just get a something smaller, probably some kind of electric ATV, something like that. Something a bit more easier to get through the gateways and stuff like that. Not really what we need at our place anymore. Place has changed since I've lived there. We've put in a lot of fences and stuff like that, so that my sister's horses and that had somewhere to live. Speaking of horses, if you've seen my previous Rambling Rides video, you would have seen where I was, or heard I should say, where I was talking about meeting up with a particular Canadian celebrity. And that particular celebrity, if you've been following my channel for a little while, you'll know that myself and my sister, we're big fans of CBC's Heartland in Canada, as are a lot of people, as I found out in Australia. It's actually got quite a big following, as it turns out. But anyway, I digress. My sister and I were fortunate enough to be invited to a dinner with one of the cast from Heartland, which he was on a holiday, vacation, whatever you want to call it, in Australia, and part of his visit he was in Sydney, and we had the pleasure of having dinner with him while he was in Sydney. And you haven't figured it out by now, I am in fact talking about Graham Wardle, or Ty Borden as he was known as in Heartland. Very down-to-earth guy, really nice guy, really, you know, I wasn't quite sure what to expect talking to somebody who, you know, you've only ever seen them on the TV screen kind of thing, and of course they're playing a part, they're acting, so you don't really know what that person's like in real life. But as it turns out, Graham is a very genuine, down-to-earth guy, and yeah, we spent some time having a chat and found out a few bits and pieces about Heartland and how they filmed certain things. And so yeah, that was all very interesting. Graham's got quite a sense of humour as well, as my sister and I found out. He was talking about, or prior to us actually meeting him, he was talking on his podcast about what it's like driving in Australia, because obviously we drive on the left-hand side of the road here, and obviously in Canada they drive on the right. And he starts out by saying, or something along the lines of, having to get used to driving on the wrong side of the road, or words to that effect. And of course, all of us Aussies are like, wrong side of the road? What are you talking about? So, but yeah, all in all, it was really nice to meet Graham and spend 2 or 3 hours with him and talking about all sorts of different things, like what he's doing with his life now. He's as most of you will be aware that if you're a fan of Heartland, you'll know that he's no longer in the part of the show anymore, which is a shame. But, obviously he had his reasons for leaving the show, and that's his business, of course. But yeah, a really nice guy, and it was well worth the long drive down to Sydney to go and meet him. So what else is happening? Later this week, I've got a good friend of mine visiting from Western Australia. We've been mates ever since we were kids. In fact, I think I was in grade 3 when I met him. Actually, the school I was, the primary school I was attending at the time. He came to that school from another school while I was about halfway through the year, and we just became good friends, and like we hit it off and got along really well from the very beginning. And yeah, we've been mates ever since. So, and what's that now? That'll be, oh wow, that's getting on for 30 years that we've been friends. And even though he still lives on the other side of Australia, we're in the little town where I used to live, where I grew up. And actually, I shouldn't call it a little town. It's actually, technically, it's a city. The place I'm talking about is actually Albany, which is right on the southwestern corner of Western Australia. And I pretty much grew up there, save for a couple of years that we spent living in Queensland. But yeah, as I say, he's later this week he's flying over for a visit, staying with us for a couple of weeks. And yeah, it should be good. Lots of computer games. A lot of computer games. He's a big computer nerd. I thought I was, I thought I was like all nerdy and into technology and all that sort of stuff. I used to own a Tesla, so it doesn't get much more nerdy than one of the most sophisticated electric cars out there. Shout out to Tesla, by the way. The Model 3, really good car. It just isn't really me, though. Being a country guy at heart, Tesla is very much a city car, and unfortunately, it just wasn't practical. Anyway, I digress again. Where was I? Oh yeah, my friend visiting from WA. I say, probably going to be a lot of computer games being played. He's very much an avid gamer. In fact, I'm amazed he still doesn't have his own YouTube channel for his gaming, because he plays a lot of games. I thought I had a lot of games in my Steam library, but nah. Last time I looked, he's got about 600 or 700 games in his Steam library, so I honestly don't know how he finds time to play them all. I really don't. But that's what he enjoys doing, and who am I to judge? You know, he's been my best mate for the best part of 30 years, and you know, we get online and we play games together. You know, we try and play something once a week if we can, or once every couple of weeks. But yeah, it's a common interest. Him more than me, but I'm just overtaking a truck now that's full of rainwater tanks. Something you don't see a lot of in many parts of the world. What else can I talk about? That's the thing about these Rambling Rides videos. I sort of have a rough idea of one or two of the things that I'm going to talk about, and then it's like, once I start talking to the camera, mine kind of goes blank, and then that creates a lot of editing. A lot of editing, chopping out ums and ahs and extended periods of silence where I can't think what I was going to say next. It's not as easy as it looks, this online video stuff. Unless you have a script or something to work from, or at least some sort of plan, which I never actually do with my videos. I have a rough idea what I'm going to do, and then for the most part I just wing it. And I guess maybe that's my style. You know, I seem to have built my whole YouTube channel on that sort of concept, where I'll have some idea of what I want to make a video about, and then from there on I just wing it until I have something until I have some footage to edit together. One of these days I'm going to have to do a video tour of the setup that I've got at home, which is how I do my videos, like the unboxing one recently actually, where I've actually got a green screen set up, which allows me to put in different backgrounds behind me while I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, perhaps that'll be an upcoming video, is a behind the scenes sort of thing. Have to keep looking in the mirrors to check the trailer, make sure all the straps are are still tight rather. Transporting any sort of load on a trailer requires careful tie downs and making sure it's all secure and can't move. It's particularly challenging when you're tying down a car or a pickup truck in this case. Sorry, ute. Very important to make sure that it's tied down securely so that it can't move. And having transported quite a great deal of things either on trailers or on our truck that we have at home that I drive, it's very important to make sure that loads are tied down securely. And I can't speak for other countries, but if you can provide some answers, pop them in the comments. I'd be very interested to hear what it's like in different countries. But here in Australia, and particularly in the state where I live, New South Wales, the rules are very strict, and they're very, very hard on truck drivers for making sure that loads are secure and that. And they have checking stations on the highway where trucks have to pull over and be inspected to make sure that their load is secure, to make sure that their logbook's all in order. So any vehicle over 12 tons GVM, or gross vehicle mass, so any truck over 12 tons, the driver has to complete a logbook for their journey. If they're traveling more than, if you're traveling more than 100 kilometers from your starting point or from where the truck resides, then you have to complete a logbook to say where you're going, how long you've been driving, because they're very strict on driving hours as well. So because a lot of truck drivers were driving ridiculously long hours to meet equally ridiculous deadlines, and obviously driving long hours without taking a break, it's a recipe for disaster because people fall asleep at the wheel. And if you've got a truck driver that's driving tired, and that's when accidents start to happen. But I've got to say though, even with the logbook scheme, it hasn't really made that much difference, if I'm honest. You'll still see trucks turned over on the side of the road occasionally. I guess the logbook has made a difference to some degree, but you'll still get drivers that, even though they'll take the breaks that they have to take by law, I can't remember the exact number of hours that they're allowed to drive before they have to stop, but anyway, all of this has to be noted down in the logbook along with the odometer reading of the truck, so it's not like they can really fake what they're putting in the book, and if they do, it's a massive fine. So yeah, obviously it was originally it was done for the right reasons, to try and cut down on driver fatigue and that, encouraging truck drivers to stop and have a rest on long journeys, because in Australia there are vast distances to cover, and a lot of goods in Australia are transported by road. They're not there is stuff that is transported by train, but the vast majority of things in Australia are transported by road. And there's actually a sign that a lot of truck drivers have taken to attaching to their trucks, which is, in some ways, I think these signs are actually a protest against the very harsh restrictions which are placed on truck drivers here. And the sign reads, "Without trucks, Australia stops." And that's very true, because everything from kitchen appliances to groceries and all sorts of things are all transported by road. Even our mail, pretty much everything. If it needs to be shifted, it goes by road in Australia, and obviously trucks are the way that it's done. So yeah, if I'm honest, truck drivers are not really given a fair go in Australia, and in New South Wales it's particularly hard on them. But yeah, what can you do? We need to keep the roads safe, but at the same time, these trucks, their drivers, they need to get these goods to where they need to go in a timely fashion. And sometimes it's not very helpful when you have freight companies that expect unrealistic deadlines for delivery on certain things. But what can you do? Just overtaken a truck just now. It looks like he's a little bit tired. He keeps drifting over the white lines, and he really needs to pull over and take a break. So there's another one that I'd be very interested to hear from you guys in the comments. If any of you out there, if you are a truck driver, doesn't matter what country you're from, if you are a truck driver, long distance, anything like that, I'd be interested to hear your stories in the comments. So definitely let me know in the comments what it's like for you if you're a truck driver, and how you get treated in the industry. I'd be very interested to hear. Well, I think I best wrap this video up. It's been going for nearly 20 minutes now, so I think, if I'm reading that right. So I'll sign off for now, and as always, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up, hit that like button, and also if you are new, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you can keep up with any new videos that I put up. But as always, thank you very much for watching and listening to me babble on about whatever came to mind at the time. And I will see you in the next video. Take care out there.